What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Good to see you guys today on a lovely Tuesday afternoon here from North Texas. Apologize about yesterday, had some stuff come up, had to reshuffle some items, but we are going live today. I don't know why I get so pumped when I fly this airplane. This BAE 146, I've said it before, I think it is my number 2 favorite aircraft of all time on the sim. And I mean, it's number 2 only because I'm an Airbus driver and I got to put the Phoenix at number 1. But this is no doubt one of my favorite airplanes on the sim platform. Now, I love and I hate Microsoft weather because just before the stream started, this airplane was in a nice sunny light. It was glistening. Everything looked amazing. And then about 2 minutes before I hit go live, some clouds rolled in over the sun and now we're in a shadow. But you can still see, I mean, look at the profile of this airplane. Look at that jet. It's just fun to fly. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think today's viewership is going to be mostly for you hardcore simmers out there. I got a lot of good stuff I want to show you. And in fact, I can show you right now. So we're going to do a full-blown VOR to VOR tutorial using Sky Vector. And here we go. There's my mouse. So I'm going to show you guys how I plan my flights using Sky Vector. This will help get you away. I don't want to say get you away from SimBrief, but if anybody can go into SimBrief, put in destination or departure destination, hit send, and gives your whole flight plan for you. I'm going to show you a little bit of an old school way how maybe you can supplement that, pick your own route, how to decide which routes you want to fly, how to fly them in the airplane itself with such a beautiful airplane like the BAE 146 when it's all round gauges like this. Now you can also pick your own routes and stuff flying other aircraft, but I think it really shines when you have some retro style cockpits, especially these slant whiskies or just the old VOR nav. I mean, this is how airplanes used to fly all the time before GPS and RNAV became a thing. So I hope you guys are ready to maybe pick up a couple different things, maybe some information here and there, some VOR information, maybe some flight planning information. Beautiful land 320 over there spawning in. Oh, that's a 321. Ooh, spicy. Very nice. So I hope you guys are ready for that. A dead reckoning. No, Danny Rubel. I don't think we're going to do any dead reckoning. We're going to have to do a little dead reckoning on departure. We'll talk about that. Good to see you, Rab H. Good to see you, Joe Vaughn. Good to see you as well. Stephen Hayner. Always a pleasure. 146 is the best plane in Microsoft. He says, hey, you know what, Stephen? It's, for what you get with the 146, you could definitely make the argument that it is the best plane in Microsoft because of the sheer amount of content you get with it, with all the variants and all that stuff. So I'm not going to disagree with you there, but I love my Phoenix. You know that. But you have a very valid argument, my friend. Captain Squid, good to see you. Blue Bear, Jeff L. What is up, man? Romulus, Aaron Hastings, Aaron, always a pleasure, my friend. Anderson Kuso, good to see you. Mr. Fubar is in the house as well. Paul Shoesmith, good to see you, sir. Juan Andres Pina Panilla, hello. Jessica Hunt, good to see you. Let's see, David Relic is also in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Dougie Holger Toich, always a pleasure, man. Welcome aboard. You've been around the channel. I see you get your V1 status bars as well. Glad, always a pleasure to have you on board, Holger Toich. Welcome on board the stream, my friend. All right, Sergey, I think I said hi to you. If I didn't, hello again. Let's go ahead and get this thing started, shall we? This is a close second to the Phoenix. I'm right there with you. It is a close second to the Phoenix. And, we can talk about this a little bit more up in cruise, when we want to compare the airplanes. But just real briefly, if you're unaware, when you buy the BAE 146, you get a 100, a 200, a 200 combi, a 200 cargo, a 300 cargo, a 300 like special, or is it a 200 RF? I don't know. You get like 4 or 5 variants of the airplane, all with their own unique flight characteristics and handling and performance. It is a load of fun. And I think, like some people said before, maybe people are afraid to fly it just because of the cockpit not having any glass screens. Well, that's the point of today's stream. I'm going to walk you through why you don't need to be afraid. We're doing a very basic VOR to VOR flight today, accompanied by a VOR full procedure approach in Balmaceda. Now, I did make a mistake. I said I thought we were going into Buenos Aires today, but I was a little bit too far north than I thought I was in the on this tour, and I didn't want to just jump up there because we've been doing so good. We haven't even skipped a leg this whole South America tour. So we're going to just ride with it. Plus Balmaceda, beautiful airport scenery. Who doesn't want to see another approach into there? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go into checklist mode, get the airplane in a pre-warmed up state, pretty much where we can start inputting stuff, and then I will go back to kind of showing you how to get Sky Vector up. What is Sky Vector? Some of you may use it, some of you may not know what Sky Vector is, and we're gonna go through it that way. So one thing that I will highly suggest if you pick up this airplane, before you get, don't just hop in and try to start flying around, because you're probably going to get confused and you're going to think the airplane's bugged. When in doubt, 99% of the quote unquote bugs I get in this airplane are because it's pilot error. It's something that I did wrong. So it's not a bug, it's a feature. And you really have to, I don't want to say you have to follow the checklist, but it really makes it easy and it helps you learn the airplane and why the airplane does certain things when you do the checklist. So let's jump into this right here. You can't even slide the seat on this thing. Oh, there's no seats. Oh, you can even. You're right. You can. I think somebody showed me that too. It's look at that. I'm gonna put the seat back. You can put the armrests up. I mean, it's just this airplane. It's up there, guys. It is straight up there. So let me go into my checklist mode here right now. Let's get the aircraft. This is completely cold and dark. We're going to go for the flight deck safety, kind of like the before start, and then we're going to look at some sky vector, some route planning. We do have McDo boxes here. We're not going to use them for anything other than weather ATIS request. All right, where are we in this tour? Right now we are in La Calafate, South America, and we are heading to Balmaceda. So we have sceneries for both. Speaking of the scenery on this airport, they've all pretty much, every airport for the last 5 streams or so has been from Simulation Extrema, I believe, and they were on sale for like $10. So if you liked any of the airports that I flew into, check them out. I have no sponsorship with them, nothing like that. I'm just telling, I picked them up my own money and I was impressed. Great improvement over the default. I like what they've done. So that's all these airports are from Simulation Extrema. So here we go. I think my favorite part of the JustFlight 146 is just how nice they make the ground gauges. Look, Steven, exactly. And for me personally, it's this attitude indicator. When you look at this attitude indicator right here, it looks so good and volumetric or 3D. Like, look at an angle view here. Like, you can really tell that there's this ball in here, and it's awesome. For those of you who have been lucky enough to actually see one of these in real life, or these attitude indicators in real life, they are very unique looking, and this airplane captures it really, really well. I admit I'm too impatient to use the checklist and just use ready for takeoff. I just want to fly it. Hey, there's no problem doing that either, but we're going to go ahead and get this thing started up right here. So landing gear down, and of course, there goes a spam call. Literally every single time we start to stream. All right. Here we go. Landing gear lever is down. Weather radar up, off, and 15 degrees up. I believe I don't know why they have it at 15 degrees up, maybe for climb out prep. And I want to tick these as I go through. So tick, tick. Transponder is in standby mode. And I'll kind of walk through it. Transponder is in standby. Tick item. Air brakes and flaps, they are in and up. Nav lights, high and nit. So most of your lights are up here on the top right. We're going to go high and nit on the nav light. Battery 1 and 2 on. Battery, electric panel right here. We're going to go 1 and 2 on. Parking brake, yellow and park. We can see that the parking brake is in yellow and it is in park. Tick item. Master switches, all on. That's referring to those master switches up here on the overhead. So yaw damp master 1, yaw damp master 2, autopilot master, and avionics masters A and B. Tick item. Ground ignition as required. We're going to just leave it on both. That's fine. Anti-skid on. Yellow and green spoilers, they go on. This is in op, but I'm just going to go ahead and put auto spoilers on there anyway. AC and DC bus tie. So we're going to go over to the electrical panel right here. AC, DC, bus tie, both auto. Standby inverters, arm, and standby generator, arm. Generators 1, 4 are in the off reset position, which they are right down here. Galley shed switch to galley. Let's go ahead and put that in galley mode. APU generator on, or, let's see, APU generator on. So I'm going to go ahead and put APU generator on. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put on a ground power. If I remember how to do it. So this says fuel pumps left inner on, and APU start and all that stuff. Now, let me real quick, this is one thing that we really rarely do, is use ground power. Where art thou, ground power switch? APU, external AC power. We can see we have it. And APU gen. Where is the ground power? Am I going blind? I must be going blind. Really? External AC switch to on. Oh, duh. Thank you. I knew I was looking at it. I was like, I knew I knew it was there. I literally drew a blank. So we're gonna stop the checklist here because this is for our APU on. So we're gonna go ahead and skip that, skip that, skip that. Landing gear indicators. We're gonna come back down here. We have 3 green, so we can tick item. MWS, tested and normed. That's basically our master warning. Okay, so that's good. Reset that. Overhead annunciators, we're going to skip those. We can test those. Cabin emergency lights, ARM. So for the cabin emergency lights, you have 2 sets of emergency lights. Your cabin emergency lights are on the overhead, and they are right here. So we're going to put them in the ARM position. We'll also put the entry light on while we're here. We'll also turn on the logo lights because Chicks dig logo lights, and then we'll keep the nav light off for now. No smoking switch. We can go ahead and turn that on as well. So we got our wing lights off, but entry and logo lights are on, as well as the cabin emergency lights. So we'll arm those. DC pump on. So now we're going to do a little bit of hydraulics manipulation. We're going to go ahead, DC pump on. Check yellow pressure rise. Which it's already we've got yellow pressure. Okay, AC pump and PTU. So now we're going to go AC pump on and PTU on. There we go. And we should see, I believe, yellow and green. Yep, yellow and green pressurized, so we can tick, tick. And you can leave those on. That's how you operate the doors. If you have a hard time closing your door, opening your cargo doors, it's because of your hydraulic configuration, especially if you fly the cargo variant. If you want to open your cargo door in the back, you need to have hydraulic power to open the door, so you have to come up here and turn it on. This actually says to leave it on, I believe, right? Does it say off at the end of it? And then checked off. So it does say checked off. So I'm going to reshrink this. So we can go ahead and turn them back off. All right, flight deck emergency lights. This is the other emergency lights. That's the normal pressurization alarm. The flight deck emergency lights are located down here. We're going to put them in the arm position, which is in the middle switch. Now, sometimes these rockers are hard to see, but that's whenever you see 3 dots on a rocker switch, that means that switch is a 3-position switch. So you see the galley switch here is only a 2 position. It's either galley or shed. If it has a middle position, you'll have the dots on it. So you can see up, middle, and off. That's what that's what those little dots signify there. So we've got those armed. Yaw dampers, both on. So we turned them on the overhead. Let's go ahead and turn them on down here in the center pedestal, and we could see we have yaw damper 1, yaw damper 2. Oxygen mask, 100% flow check. Now this is something that I always forget how to do. I am on VATSIM, that is correct. I believe we go over here and we have to do that. Okay, main valve on. That is good. All right, oxygen valve, main valve on, oxygen main valve on. There we go, and 100% flow. We would check that over on our actual mask over here, down here, and push the test. Even got to push the test. All right, cool. So our flight deck safety checks are complete at this point. Pretty simple, pretty simple. Rab says the detail is just amazing. It is, man. It really is. And that's the thing about this airplane. Just it's a ton of fun. I'm gonna hit the magic altimeter button, the B key, right now, just so we can get going. Now, a couple other things you're gonna want to turn on that aren't really on the checklist. So I'm gonna go ahead and press the on button here for my VHF nav radio. This is a VHF 1. Now VHF 2, nav 2 is over here on the FO side. And you can see it's not a analog switch. I'm sorry, it's not a digital, it's analog. So that one's on. And we're going to put this into the on position here. So you could see, you got to be careful where you switch this because you can accidentally put this in standby and you're wondering, why can't I get any DME information? This is your DME information that you want to have down here on your HSI. If you're not getting any information down here, you probably forgot to turn this switch on or you left it in that standby. You want to put it on, not hold or override. Those are further functions that we may talk about earlier. Sets altimeter with B key. Jeff, you know what's funny is last time I was flying, I thought, man, because like I think we called up ready to taxi, and ground controller came back and said, hey, make sure you have information Charlie or something. And I'm just like, man, can I just hit the B key? I was just thinking that in my head because now the FO's got to get the ATIS, got to get the new ATIS, got to get the new altimeter setting. I'm like, just hit the B key. Wish we could do that in real life. All right, altimeter is set. A couple other things you want to turn on is right here. Let's go on. This is our comms. We're going to go on as well. And we want to be on 122.8. And we can transfer to active. So kind of like the old school Boeings, you see the green light is the active COM. So COM 1 is 122.8, COM 2 is 124.8, and realistically you'd probably have the emergency frequency in the standby radio, so I'd probably put 121.5 here, or company operations, anything like that. Nothing too crazy, but for good purposes, we'll just put COM 2 on 121.5. Did you click the top of the cake on the on the top of the cake on the FO side VOR? That's how you turn it on. Yes, did I? Let's see. I think it's on. Right. So again, that's a great point, Stephen. So this third knob right here is how you turn it on, right? So hopefully, I might have turned it off. If we don't have any VOR2 information, we'll just come up here and toggle this knob one more time. But that's pretty much set. There's a couple other things that you can check here, like dim switches and all that, but I'm gonna do that and make sure that looks good. Okay, everything else looks good on this side. Beautiful. Ready to go. So now that our airplane is pretty much in a position to go. What's that? Oh, I thought I heard someone starting up. Oh no, I thought I heard like a Neo starting up. I'm gonna hit the parking brake here. The pedal, I'm sorry, not the parking brake. The pedal adjust button will hide the yoke. All right, let's go over. Now that we got that done, I'm gonna insert an ad just because you guys love ads, and then we're going to get our flight plan going. There are two oxygen knobs on either side that you may want to turn on as well. I think that's what they are. Let me double check. So on my side, so this is what I'm pretty sure this drops the masks. So I didn't turn this one, Ether Master, and this is something I probably need to look up, because you can see drop out, off, drop out. So if you were to have a decompression and you needed to drop the oxygen masks, I believe this is how you do it, and you would press that. Now the valve that I pressed over here on the FO side, this is the main valve to pressurize the system. So it's the main supply and main valve. Right now it's on. If I turn it off, we have no pressure in the system. If I turn it on, we've now pressurized the main supply, and all you have to do is drop the oxygen mask in the back, and then this should probably come up too, unless I'm missing another valve, which it's very possible. I'm not saying I didn't miss it, but that's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. Sometimes there's some other knobs here, but I think that's good. All right, might want to drop the mask, and I'm going to keep the pass docile by having them breathe pure O2. You know, I don't know how it's provided in the BAE 146, but most modern jetliners, your oxygen masks are actually chemical oxygen generators, which, I mean, it's still oxygen, but it's only good for about 30 minutes. So we have little oxygen bottles that are up in the overhead. Not really in the overhead, they're actually in the PSU, passenger service unit, and that's what pressurizes and powers your oxygen mask should one deploy. All right, let's look at our route of flight today. So I'm going to pull up SkyVector, and I'm going to put it up here on the screen for you. So yes, we could always just go to SimBrief, put in our departure and our arrival, hit generate flight plan, and it's going to give us all the good juicy information that we want. That's fine, but there's a different level of satisfaction that you can get from flying VOR to VOR. So we're going to kick this off with a little mini VOR to VOR tutorial flight. If you ever heard of SkyVector, check it out. It's totally free. Skyvector.com is what I use. You're going to come to a page similar like this. It's going to ask you to select what type of charts you want to look at. World high, world. You can look at VFR charts. You can see like all the different terrain and stuff. For this particular flight, though, I'm going to use world low airways. And the reason I'm using low airways is because the high airways on this chart are all RNAV. So you see these blue airways? When they're blue, that means it's an RNAV airway, and you got to have RNAV navigation. The low airways, if I go world low, you see the black airways now. So G550 in black, that is an airway that you can fly VOR to VOR. Now, what would make this a little bit more sensical is if we had, or sensible I should say, if we had a departure procedure that was a VOR or a standard departure procedure. Unfortunately, all the departures out of El Calafate or El Caliphate, Caliphate? That doesn't sound right. It sounds like Caliphate. All the departures out of here are RNAV, so we're going to make up our own departure procedure. And it's going to be a very simple one. So you could see when you put in your departure and destination in here, it's going to automatically just draw a pink line airport to airport. All right, I want to go ahead and I want to select this airway. There's multiple different ways you can select this airway. And I bet I can make this a little bit bigger for you. There we go. So I'm going to actually pick a waypoint out. I'm going to pick out Ogter. Now when I pick up Ogter, it asks me plan Ogter or just GPS fix that you just put here. I just want to plan Ogter, the waypoint. Now when I did that, look what happened. It drew something crazy. It automatically inserted a departure, the Ogter 1 Gulf departure procedure. This is an RNAV only. We can't do it. So thank you, SkyVector, for helping me pick a departure procedure, but I'm going to delete that out. I just want the waypoint. So I just go ahead and delete that out, and now I've got Ogter. And coincidentally, off of the VOR, we can look here. 352 is our course outbound to Ogter, and technically to be 100% accurate, we're starting from the waypoint. We actually want to start from the VOR, right? So I'm actually going to draw my pink line. I'm going to drop it on El Caliphate or Caliphate VOR. So now I have a straight up perfect line on the 352 course outbound to Ogter. From Ogter, we're going to continue on this airway, this black one. Remember the black airway because it's a VOR. We could put EDSIL there if we want, but I don't want to put EDSIL. I'm just going to go ahead and go all the way to the next waypoint where we have a course change. You can see this is a solid triangle as opposed to a clear triangle. The solid triangle is a mandatory reporting point, and it signifies an airway change. That's what I meant to say. So because there is an airway change or an course change, we want to make sure we have ROGL on our flight plan. So I'm going to select ROGL. All right, now when I've done that, look what it's done now. It put the ECA1 in there, which we don't really want that. And we know we just want to go from the VOR. It's got our airway to Ogter, and it's got the airway to ROGL, and then it added the arrival. We don't want to do the ROGL 3 arrival. We just want to do ROGL. So we clear that out. So now we've literally made a VOR to VOR flight plan, and we have we could put a little waypoint here. Negos. Let's go ahead and put Negos in here. There we go. And actually, we don't need Negos. We're close enough to the VOR. Let's go ahead and clear that out. So from ROGL all the way to the Balmaceda VOR, which is BAL. So I'm going to draw this pink line, drop it right there. Boom. So if you look at our box now, or our flight plan now, we have a VOR to VOR flight plan, and it added the waypoint or the airways in here. So SkyVector's automatically saying, hey, if you want to go on these waypoints to waypoints, you're on this airway, let me import it for you. And what's really nice, if you put your mouse cursor over it, it highlights the segment. So if I put my mouse over Tango 659, that's the airway. If I highlight the waypoint, see the waypoint light up, there's Ogter. If I highlight G550, it highlights that airway. That's the airway, G550. ROGL, same thing, all the way down to Balmaceda. And your Rajel? Maybe it's Rajel. Okay, thank you. Somebody brought up a good point, though. Oh, yeah, ECA1, it doesn't exist. Yeah, the ECA1 was a VOR departure or a standard departure procedure, and I don't have that. I don't know if it's maybe like a specific chart, but I don't have it in Navigraph, so we're not going to do it. What we're going to do is a manual departure, and this is something this is a real-world thing. When I was flying freight, and I was flying airplanes with cockpits just like this, no glass in them, you had a plan. If you were on a non, I guess, company route, I'd say, and you had to actually plan your flight plan, which we had to do. This is exactly how I would load it up. And I'd say, well, I can't take off out of here on an RNAV departure, so I have to come up with my own departure procedure. There's a couple different ways you can do it. For sim purposes, I'm going to keep it real simple for you. Go to the VFR map here. The VFR map is going to give you a terrain. It's going to give you better terrain ideas. And what's awesome about this departure, look, we're going out over the water. So I know when I take off here, the winds are out of the west, so we're going to take off this way. I don't want to turn a left and go back around to the VOR because look at all this terrain over here. I'm going to take off and I'm going to make a nice right turn over the water because I know there's no rising terrain. I can speed up, clean up. I don't have to worry about anything. And then I can join the airway that I've selected. Now, because I'm in the VFR map, that airway is not visible, but we know it's right here. This is kind of the terrain we're going to be flying over. So for this departure, we're going to set runway heading at 400 feet above field. We're going to start a right turn all the way back around to intercept. So I'm going to put this back on world low. Now let's set up our nav radios as such. So we need to select the Caliphate VOR, which is 14.7. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to dial in 14.7 on my primary VHF. 114.7. Now it is in the active mode. If I want to change the VHF down here, I got to move this switch to pre. So let's be good pilots. Let's use all of the available resources we have to us. I know I'm going to use 14.7 almost all the way until we get to Bala Meseta. What can I put in the secondary nav radio? How about we stay ahead of the game and just put Bala Meseta in the standby, in the pre-select, so we know we already have it when we get up there. So 15.5, I'm going to put that in the standby. Now, since I have that, I can also put something in the FO's VHF nav. Real world scenario, you probably both be on VHF. You probably both have the same frequency tuned in for this specific flight. But since I'm single pilot, I want to lighten my workload. I'm going to put VHF 2 on 15.5 right now. So when I'm flying along on my side of the cockpit over here, and I'm tracking the Caliphate VOR outbound, when I start getting DME2 information, which will be over here, which is distance measuring equipment. Oh, let me get rid of the Sky Vector tab for you. When I start picking up distance to DME2, I know I've already picked up Bala Meseta VOR and I'm getting close and I'm going to get ready to change over. So, like I said, you want to lighten your workload as much as possible. If you have a spare nav radio, it's a set, maybe the standby in nav 2. Don't just let it be nothing. Put flying, especially real life stuff when you're flying jets and flying single pilot operations, even two crew operations. It's always better to have everything set up on the ground before you get airborne. It just makes your life a heck of a lot easier. All right, so the last thing we have to do then, of course, is set the actual course out of Caliphate. So we said it was the 352. And real quick before we switch off of this, if you want to know, okay, well now I know how to plan my very basic VOR to VOR flight plan manually. How do I know my fuel burns, V1? What do I do for fuel? To start out, if you don't know your airplane, what's real fun is you can take this route that you've planned, left Control C, copy it, go to SimBrief, paste this route in the SimBrief routing structure instead of what SimBrief gives you, and now it will calculate all your fuel burns for the profile that you have saved on SimBrief. So you can kind of go hybrid, manual plan your route, and then use SimBrief to simulate a real-world dispatcher and have him calculate all the fuel for you that you want for the route of flight that you've picked. So that's the easiest way to do that. You just copy this, boom, print it. Now what also you can do is if you want some extra information, you click on Nav Log here, and it will actually give you your course, and if you put in your airspeed, if you put in your actual speeds up here, altitudes, and you know your fuel burn, and you click Nav Log, it will calculate all that information for you. And here you go. You got a Nav Log you can use. If you got a printer, you can print it out. It's got the VOR frequencies on here. Makes it really easy to use, and it gives you just a whole different level of satisfaction when you go flying. I mean, if you want the ultimate satisfaction, guys, fire up your 727 on X-plane, or fire up a classic classic 7.3 or whatever it may be, anything with round gauges. Do a whole flight plan VOR to VOR, throw that stuff into SimBrief, get the proper fuel numbers, go fly A to B. When you land, you're gonna feel like, wow, I just did that real life, the real world way, and it's a whole different level of satisfaction than just doing FMS uplink, boom, Children of Magenta, follow the pink line to the destination. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it, you gotta try it. It's a whole different level of satisfaction. All right, so we got that done. We need to set our course. What do we say? 352. Got on a tangent there. So our nav course in the 146, very easy. We're going to dial in 352. Boom, set. 352, and I'm going to just put 352 in the FOs just because we don't have anything to put in there right now. But 352 is our nav course. We don't have any ATC online. We're going to fly up to flight level 250. So we're going to do the rest of the airplane stuff here. We're going to go 250 on the altitude select window. And we're going to go altitude arm. Oh, we can't do that yet. I don't know why I clicked that. 250 is set. Everything else looks good here. Let's go ahead and get the APU fired up. So left outer fuel tank pump comes on. And let's go ahead and start the APU. Yeah, V1, you said caliphate, right, the first time. Other than that, I love this for my future IFR training. Beautiful, Javier. Exactly. This is, I actually use SkyVector is a real-world tool. So I know SimBrief is really good, and you know you could argue that it's just as good as a real-world stuff in some scenarios, but you can't use it in real life. SkyVector is the actual tool that I used in real life a lot of the times to plan stuff and cross-check stuff. So actually, that's not totally true, because SkyVector really wasn't as good as it is now when I was using it. I still had to use my own paper charts and carry 6 different charts with me. But I used, I did use SkyVector in certain instances, and it's a real-world approved tool. So maybe you're in flight training right now and you want to just practice your IFR flight. Maybe you're getting ready to do a cross-country real life. Look at SkyVector. It's got everything on there that you want, basic information stuff, and it can really get you going in the right direction. And it makes it a lot easier when you go up in the real airplane. You just sold me on the FlyJSim 732 and maybe the 146. David, the FlyJSim stuff is awesome. I love the 7.2. 7.3 is also amazing. There is a little flight model tweak you might want to check out. It's just a little CFG edit that makes the 732 fly a little bit easier. If you want to fly those airplanes in a virtual airline environment, make sure you check out the Piedmont Historical Group, or Piedmont Virtual Historical Group, PVA. They have those airplanes in there, and they have all the stuff that you would need to get them all sorted up. So James Monk says, I love this plane so much, especially when get asked to go faster than 6.8. I know, man. I used to fly, I used it for VFR planning when I was working on my private. There you go. Exactly. Make sure to pronounce it Califatai. Califatai. Califatai? Califatai? Califatai. The duck mod 732. Yes, jump and run. That's what I was thinking of too. There's also a duck mod for that. Absolutely. Okay. We've got the APU on. Let's go back to our flight deck safety, make sure we did everything. Remember, we skipped some stuff here. So let's go ahead. APU generators on. Fuel pumps left inner is on. We'll tick that. Engine fire handles are in. APU start. APU RPM TGT and check stable. So we are in the green and we are stable. APU air and packs on. So APU air is coming on. We're going to go packs on as well. And let's go ahead and get the flight deck fan, the cabin fan on. Get some flow into the cabin here. We'll put the recirc fan on here as well, kind of keep the airplane nice and cool. That is all done. We can go ahead and skip to the before start checklist. All right, let's start from the top. Departure briefing. We're going to depart, basically, what is it, runway 25. So I'm going to spin my heading bug all the way around to 250. We'll center that up when we get out there, but let me spin this around. I think it's 25-ish. We'll set it there for now. We're going to basically fly a climbing right-hand turn to join the 352 radial outbound from Caliphate. 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 It's not Caliphate? Caliphate. I don't know. You guys are killing. It's Caliphate. Caliphate. Caliphate? I don't know. God, you guys are probably cringing so hard. All right, departure briefing is complete. Brake pressure check above 2,500 PSI, which is down here. Check. Hydraulics all off. So we're going to come up here. We're going to go ahead and turn all the hydraulics off. But we're actually going to hold the checklist there, because if we do that, we won't be able to close the doors. So I'm going to go over here. We're going to go ahead and go... Let me disconnect ground power first. We're going to go ahead and go external power off. Okay, so now we're going to come over here, just like in the Airbus, make sure you turn it off and go ahead and disconnect the ground power. Let's go ahead and close the cargo doors. Let's go ahead and pull the stairs in. And here's the thing, if you don't have hydraulics on, so if you go through the checklist, you're not going to be able to close your doors. You got to turn the P2 on. We're going to get everything closed up here. Is it stowed yet? There we go. Make sure the stairs are completely stowed. before you close the door, that is complete. We still have the chocks on. Another good thing about this airplane is as with the latest update, it will automatically populate all the information from SimBrief. So if you did what we did there with your SkyVector flight plan, then you did all your fuel stuff in SimBrief, it now syncs to SimBrief as well. So just like we expect in like the Phoenix or something like that, this now, the JustFlight 146 does that as well. So these are all the numbers I had from SimBrief. We've got 86 people. We've got 30.5 on the CG, which if we click this, it will automatically set trim for takeoff. We've got our 0 fuel weights and our total fuel of 10.4 on board. So beautiful. That is good. All right, now we can come up here. Rab says the sound effects are exactly. I agree, man. Canadian says, hi, first time able to get on a stream. Have been looking at a lot of videos of you lately, but haven't been able to get on live. Well, Canadian, welcome on board, my friend. Hope you enjoy the stream. We're just firing up. We're taking it a little bit longer today because we were doing our own flight planning, but I hope you enjoy the content, man. Welcome aboard. So PTU is coming off. That's what that little hydraulic thing was. The rest of the hydraulics should come off as well. So everything is off here, correct? Off, off, off. Good. Hydraulics all off. Check that out. Fuel center transfer. We don't have any, but we're going to put it in auto anyway. Ice detect switches. So we're going to come over here. The ice detect is the guarded switch. We're going to go ahead and turn that on, put the guard back on. Fasten seatbelt sign right down here on the forward overhead panel. That is on. Fuel quantity checked. Flight data recorder set. Altimeter set and cross-check. We hit B, right? MWS ground op. Reset. So that's off, test, and reset to normal right here. Done. TMS N1 speed bugs. Okay, so TMS, I've talked about it in multiple streams before. Basically, we need to do just a quick power up. This is a pseudo auto throttle system. So we're going to turn power on for the TMS. Let us go through its power up. Now we're going to hit test, and it's going to go ahead and cycle through all the numbers. Potvin Sucks. What's up, man? Welcome. First time as well? Well, I hope you enjoy it, man. Welcome on board. Let's go ahead and hit the takeoff mode. This is going to give us our assumed temperature for takeoff. It's 5 degrees outside, 93.6. Beautiful. If we hit this, it will automatically set our speed bugs and our N1. So we got 93.6 is set. Once we get flaps 18, we'll go ahead and click this again to make sure our speeds are exactly right. But now our speed bugs are set. For engine start, we're going to go ahead and turn this off, however. So we're done. We've got 93.6. We've got our bug set. We'll go ahead and turn it back off. Continue with the checklist. Doors and equipment are removed except the chocks. Cool. Engine starting checklist. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and turn the beacon on because we know we're going to use that. So beacon light can come on. Entry light can come off. We're going to do a Shift P pushback today. So we'll go ahead and pull the chocks and cockpit to ground. Ground cockpit, go ahead. You guys all ready? Yeah, you can go ahead and hook up and we'll go ahead and push back. Cool. Nice. 10 for 10 on the conversation there. Super accurate. I started a little navigation course where I go to now. 2 times per week, just for fun at the moment, but I guess I can always come in handy. In the future, first 2 classes, we're navigating with NDBs. Awesome, Danny. Good to hear it, man. Can I please fly from Rizal, the now famous for military in J-Town in Poland? I'd love to hear you attempt at the name. Yeah, I didn't even attempt it, David. Rizal. All right, he is connected. Let's go ahead and release brakes. Brakes release, and we're commencing pushback. Cartage Wall, what's going on, man? I would expect nothing short from a professional ramper. What's up, Carter? Good to see you, man. I just see you join there earlier. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Once we get this airplane up in the sunlight, too, you're going to be like, wow, it looks so pretty. We'll just do a straight back pushback today. Classic Shift P pushback. Love this livery, the Penguin here of Antarctic. We're DAP 357 as well. And I believe they do real flying out of Balmaceda, so this is relatively realistic. This is a legit DAP route, or a charter route. Latam over there needs a tail stand because he's trying to become a 73900 or something. Let's go ahead and end the pushback here. And brake set. Let's go ahead and start engines, or starting engine checklist. Beacon light on, PAX and APU air all off. So PAX off, APU air off. Engine anti-ice, all 4 on. This is for torque for engine start. Fuel pumps, all on. Check. TMS is off. Engine start power, it is in normal position. Engine start master switch, on. And we're going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll be at the after start checklist. So we're going to start on 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to put this on APU gen so I can see my power. That looks good. And let's go engine 4. Start. Cockpit lights dim as well during the startup. So awesome. You can hear the igniters faintly. They don't call it the Whisper Jet for nothing. Sounds like we got a good start on 4. Let's go ahead and start 3. I'm going to go ahead and get some lights on up there as well in the overhead. And we'll do down here as well. We'll do a little bit of panel light here. We'll do a little floodlight here on the center console. Number 3. Looks like Latam is pushing back. You're that Latam, old potato? Nice. Richard, what's going on, man? It says, hi there, everyone. How you doing? Fine, the 146. We're doing good so far. We haven't even took off yet, but we got our own flight plan. We did a custom VOR to VOR flight plan. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. 5 APUs. Livery is the juice. Scott, I agree, man. This little penguin livery is freaking awesome. Macus, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you on board. I love that 321, man. Gosh, Airbus is just so cool looking, too. 321 with sharklets. If it had IAEs, it'd be the best. 321 IAEs and sharklets is just straight up 10 for 10. I'm going to actually turn that off. What if I do a little bit of floodlight, though, on the panel? There we go. All right, let's go ahead and look up top. Then we'll go ahead and turn in 2. So you can watch the engine start up here. N1's on the rise. N2 is on the rise. Actually, N2, N1. N2 would be first. I forget what we're waiting for. I think it's like 20-ish%. What about a BAE with IAEs? That would be interesting. Boeing is better than Airbus? I disagree, my friend. B with a single Rolls-Royce Trent 700. Oh, wow. All right, last one. Here we go. We're starting number 4. Love that sound. PMDG 73600. It was only $35. Great. I was going to wait until the 800, but it was cheap. Rex. Dude, I am so pumped with that little 600. So here's the deal, guys. I actually have a 73600 stream ready to go in the US Airways livery. Maximum Juice livery. We might do it after the stream. We might double up. We might do a members-only stream after the stream and just fly a short flight from, like, maybe, I don't know, what short? Philly to Philly, DC. That's a little too short. Maybe, like, Charlotte, DC. How long is that? Just because the 737-600 with the US Airways Cactus livery is the juice. I used to fly it on the 400 and loved it, loved it. Last time, I think I flew one of the last 737-400s that US Airways had. I think I was on it from Charlotte. I think it was Charlotte to Philly, honestly. Something like that. We'll see. We'll see how tired I am at the end of this stream. All right, we got 4 good starts. We go ahead and turn that off. Start master off. We go ahead and turn our engine anti-ice off. Let's get our ice protection switches all on. That is good. Let's get APU air back on. Pack 1 and 2 on. We're going to leave the engine air off because we're going to use bleed from the packs. We can go Gen 1 on, Gen 4 on. We'll leave the APU generator on as well. And then I think we have to configure, I forget. So let's go with the checklist. Alright, start power norm is done. Master off. Engine anti as required. Gen 1 and 4 on. Brake fans. Auto, which are down. I'm sorry, they're up top. Brake temp is. Go brake temp on. And fans are up here. Auto, done. Engine 2 and 3, hydraulic, both on. So 2 and 3 on. AC pump and PTU on. So on, PTU on. Heaters all on. We did that. APU air and packs on as required. They're set. Engine air off as required. TMS on for takeoff. So TMS powered on and TO mode selected 93.6. Transponder TA only. Transponder TA only, and we need a Squawk 2000 as well. I forget how to do this. There we go. I don't think you have to hit enter. Taxi lights on, brakes, and test on initial roll. Cool, and we also have to set our flaps. That is before takeoff. We're going to set flaps 18. Check out this animation. Let's do it from under the wing. Charlotte, Philly is 500 miles, if you meant Charlotte, North Carolina. Yes, I did. That's a little far. What about Charlotte, D.C.? Charlotte, D.C. is a good choice. Could do the D.C. That would be kind of fun. Old cactus livery. Maybe La Garbage. Ooh, we could do Philly La Garbage in the 73400. Or maybe I'll put a poll up in chat. We'll see. Let's see if we can get through this flight as first. Flaps 18 is set. Cabin is auto. Right, so that is good. We're not using the box today. We do need to set this, however. What is our flight altitude? Is going to be 2. I think we're eventually going to go to 25. So we're just going to set 25 and we'll fix it. 250 for now. And pull to set altitude, or pull to set baro. What is the actual baro? It is 1012, which is close enough. That looks good. All right, a couple other things we need to do before we go. Altitude. Oh, sorry. Flight director's on. Flight director's on. Altitude arm. And then we got to press the little button here to put us in altitude white, go around, pitch, roll selected. I can go ahead and hide the yoke now. Everything else is done. Let's get our taxi lights on. That's the forward position. Brakes release, and let's taxi out. Caliphate traffic, DAP 357 taxi. I don't know what the runway is. 25-ish. 25. I love how the pressurization gauge optimistically offers a flight level options above 280. Oh, I gotta turn up VATSIM. I didn't hear what he said.
Hello, traffic, Latam 755, 16 to 5 behind the F357.
Cool. So he's going to taxi behind us. We're going to 25. Yeah, we're going to 25. So we got to do a back taxi. What did I say? Yeah, I have 250 set, but we might stop the climb at like 23. And we'll do a brake pressure check here, brake pressure seen, and we can go ahead and do this.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
Caliphate traffic, DAP 357, back taxi at 25. Chris, you really like this livery? Me too, man. Oh, look at that. That's cool with the Airbus behind us. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, we're going to go ahead and enter the runway. We should turn all of our lights on, but I'm too busy making sure we don't taxi in front of anybody. Let's turn all our lights on here while we are on the runway, and we're going to be taking off anyway. So, ooh, flight deck emergency lights. I should have... Oh, no, they were in arm. There we go. Those are good. Let's see if I can get up here, and we'll turn the rest of our lights on. We'll go wing lights on. Strobe light on.
751, hold in search, runway 25.
Cool, Latam's going to hold short for 25 because we have to back taxi. Things are looking up, folks. Things are looking up. Canadian says, thoughts on the Piper Navajo for training in real world? That's what I'm going to do my VFR and IFR in. I like it a lot. Very big on the first flight, but getting used to Canadian. Hey, I've got almost 1,000 hours in the Navajo. Well, take that back. I think I might only have like a couple, maybe 200. I have to look at my logbook. I don't have that much in the Navajo, but I have much more in the Chieftain, which essentially is the same thing as the Navajo, just a little bit different, different engine rating. But hey, if you can afford it, man, shoot. Train in it. That is a beast of an airplane. I love the Navajo and the Chieftain both. Phenomenal twin pistons to fly. They are hellacious machines. When things go wrong in them, it can be crazy, but it is a great airplane. I love the Navajo. X-Plane 11 has a really good Navajo from Coronado. If you pick up the Rep Sim Coders pack, it's really, really good. And in fact, I'm looking forward to flying the Navajo in X-Plane 12 quite a bit, because the Sim Coders pack came out a little bit after I was pretty much done with 11, but I'm very much looking forward to the Navajo with a Rep Sim Coders pack. Rep is Reality Expansion pack. I would highly recommend, if you're an X-Plane guy, highly recommend picking it up if you're going to use it for training. Don't worry about the Airbus. It'll outclimb you shortly after takeoff. Yeah, it will. It will, exactly. Sword says, I'm at X-Plane 11 Simmer. Do all the airports in Microsoft have trees next to the taxiways? It seems like it, doesn't it, man? If you get the payware sceneries, not so much. But this is a payware. And these are more like bushes, I think. But I get where you're coming from, man. Service ceiling is 350. Oh, yeah, I don't doubt it. It just depends on weight. You know, we're actually going to be relatively light with only 86 people and 10,000 pounds of gas. So we probably could get up a little bit higher. So here's the problem. This taxi light would not be here in real life, but it's all right. We're going to go ahead and use the turn on, and we'll just do a rolling takeoff because that guy's waiting, right? I'm trying to key my mic and use a tiller. I got to, like, reach around my yoke. Giggity. And Caliphate traffic, depth 357. We're going to be departing runway 25, a right downwind departure. Caliphate.
Caliphate traffic to Lapang 751 behind departure traffic to Captain runway 25 behind.
Alright, I'm going to be quiet, enjoy the takeoff. We're going to take off. Let me sync my heading bug. What about there? I'm actually going to, so we're going to do a right downwind departure. On the TMS, what we're looking for, we want to set our power close to 93. When these blue lights go out, that means TMS is set for takeoff. So here we go. Yoga's in chat. Enjoy the sounds. They're absolutely awesome. Spool them up. 50. And brakes release. Get them set, close enough.
Power set, flex achieved.
Now the TMS is going to bring them back. You'll hear the engines roll back a little bit.
80 knots, cross checked.
You can hear the TMS working to sync the N1s at 93.
V1. Rotate.
Nice and easy on the rotation.
V2.
Pause and brake. Gear up, fly with. Gosh, that's awesome. All right, there's 400 feet. I'm going to go sync mode. I'm also going to get my heading bug turning. I'm going to turn all the way around to about 030 so we can intercept. Long spin here of the heading bug. So sync mode is on. Trim down a little bit. We're looking for about, what is it, like 7 degrees? So I got to lower the nose a little bit so we could accelerate now.
The FTO, safe height speed, select flaps.
Yeah, hear those flaps come up. Look at that. Listen to the sound. So much juice right there. You got to be careful the nose doesn't drop on you here in the turn. don't descend. See, you can get distracted there. Alright, so about 11 degrees now. That's close enough on the heading. We'll go right about there. Let's go IAS hold on that. And let's select heading on the flight director. We'll go sync mode back on for pitch to come back up a little bit.
Calibrate traffic to Latam 751, departing runway 25 on October 1 Charlie departure.
Trim it down a little bit for our fly width. Beautiful. Alright, so what I'm looking for here now is I'm looking for this CDI needle. See, it's coming in. That's our course line. So I'm going to spin this actually to intercept, and I'm going to press nav. So now my flight director is going to help me join that 352 radial that we predetermined. You can see VOR is green now, so we are going to be tracking the VOR. Now remember, if there's a wind correction too, you're not going to fly the 352 heading. Depending on winds, you might fly a little bit off, and we'll talk about that when we get to cruise. So since I'm single pilot, I'm just going to go ahead and just go autopilot on now at this point. So autopilot is on. We're IAS hold at 250, VOR loc mode. Let's go ahead and go sync on the TMS. And let's come back to 89%. I'm a little late on the power too. Let's go ahead and go about 89%. There's 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and get the lights off. And we come up here. We'll go ahead and get the wing light, logo light. Everything else can stay on. Beautiful. Caliphate traffic depth 357 out of 10.6, departing to the north. Last call in Caliphate. Turn the floodlight on a little bit more so we can see what we're doing. Let's do another fly width. It's so nice. I know it's loud. Let me turn it down. Alright, let's get after takeoff. Landing gear up, lights out, take item, flaps are up, TMS sync as required, engine air. Here we go. Engine air. 1, 2, 3, 4, all on. At this point, now we turn the APU air off. Done. Packs on, and verify that we are pressurizing. So our packs are on, and we can verify that we are pressurizing. If we take a look down here, we can see the cabin is climbing beautifully. All right, we are tracking our 352. Sync my heading bug up to the front there. I could lower the nose a little bit now, so I'm going to go ahead and go sync mode on the stick. I'm going to lower the nose a little bit. I'm going to aim for about maybe 300 or so. I forget what the speed in the cloud, about 270 maybe. I forget my profiles, but we'll speed up a little bit. Right about there. We are rocking and a rolling. Oh, you got to see my Chick-fil-A coffee, sorry. I'm going to go back into live cam. Get rid of that. I'm going to turn down the sim a little bit more. And we're going to talk more about our flying here and what we're doing. Let's just make sure, verify everything is good. I guess I'll turn on these instrument lights as well. See, it's Microsoft, man. It's like you actually need the lighting in the clouds. We're doing 270. We're IAS VLOC hold. You can see our DME is actively working, right? We got 20 miles from the VOR. Remember, we were leaving Caliphate VOR on the 352. We're 20 miles. We can see our DME is climbing out. Notice we have a dash here in DME 2. That's because we're still way too far from that other waypoint of Bala Meseta. So we haven't picked it up. And you can also verify over here that we haven't picked it up as well. But we got 88.7 on the TMS. That looks good. We're at a 15.1, 2988. Everything is looking good at this point. What is our checklist we got to do? Okay, so let's do our climb checklist. We'll do that out of 18,000. So we'll go a little bit further up. We'll enjoy some more flying here. Ooh, look at this view. We're going to go over another lake. I don't know which view to go. Do you guys like? I can do cabin or not. So look at that clouds out there. So awesome. Let me pull up Sky Vector again. We'll double check where we are. I'm going to shrink this because we don't need it as big now, right? Because we know what we're doing. So I'm going to close this box so we just have the map. All right, so he's departing out. Let's take a look. Miggs, welcome to Commercial Pilot, sir. Exclamation point, welcome. Glad to have you on board the channel, my friend. Exclamation welcome will give you more information on your perks here at the V1 channel. Glad to have you on board. All right, so let's take a little look, some more looks here at our flight plan. Remember, you never want to just be doing nothing if you can help it. You always want to look for work, okay? So we're in the climb out. We're going to do our climb checklist here in a little bit, but let's see what our first waypoint was. So we know we're on the 352 now, outbound. Our first waypoint was Ogter, and if we look at our nav log, if we go, I thought I had our range on it. Oh well. I was going to say our nav log would tell us how far this was. So let's go nav log. Oh, that's really small. Sorry. Hold on. Basically, I wanted to see how far Ogter was from the VOR. About 49 miles. So here is Ogter. We got to fly 49 miles, almost 50 miles. We'll be close to Ogter. So we'll go ahead and close that back out. And sometimes this actually does a good, it actually tells you your distances. I don't know why it's not telling me a distance right now. Maybe because I'm in half screen mode. I don't know. 49 miles. Yep. You can click the 3 lines on the nav log. Ah, thank you. That's what I'm for. So we know 49 miles, or just call it 50 miles from the VOR. We're at our first waypoint. We don't have a course changeover at that point, but at least it gives us an idea of where we are. All right, there's 18.9. Let's go ahead and set standard altimeter pressure. 29092 is set, and they're all synced up, so they're going to work with me here. 29092 is set once, twice, and then the other side is synced. So that is done. Tick item. PTU and AC pumps off. So PTU off and AC pump off. Fasten seatbelts. It's nice and smooth right now. Let's go ahead and turn it off, shall we? Fasten seatbelt sign is over here. That is off. And lights we already did as required. That leaves us with the descent checklist left. That's all we have to do left. Beautiful. 39 miles out. Wow, it looks so real. Look at that. What's out this side? So much flatter on this side over here. But damn, that looks good, doesn't it? Looks like the macaroni or rock hopper penguin paint scheme. Nice. So what you can also do too, if you don't like the cabin, then go interior cabin off. And then now we've got a little bit more to look at. I kind of like this view right here. That's pretty sweet. I need some water. Oh my. Mr. Miggs. Whoa. Mr. Miggs coming in with a 300 Canadian, I believe, right? Dono. That is a monster, a dono. Thank you so much, Mr. Miggs. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Says, thank you for the warm welcome, V1. Good to see the 146 out for a spin again. I love your channel and expertise with the A320. It's some of the best flight sim content on the tube. Have a great flight, Captain. Miggs, that is probably a record for record large dono on the channel. So thank you so much, man. That is extremely, extremely generous of you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. If you're a member in chat, guys, give him a positive rate for Miggs, who has recently become a member of the channel and has also dropped a massive 300 dono. I really appreciate you. I'm glad you're enjoying the content, man. I really am. This is, you know, I love teaching. I hope you can sense that. I hope you can sense a little bit of the of why I do what I do here on YouTube. I love teaching, and when you guys are receptive of the information, even though it's not always in the Airbus, you guys are just it just makes me want to keep doing more and keep doing it better and better. So thank you so much for your massive dono. I really appreciate that, and I look forward to providing more and more content for you guys as well. So awesome. Thank you so much, Miggs. Appreciate you. Now, I have to figure out what happened to my... I gotta look at my alert box here, because I turned off some of the sounds on it. Let me go here. Sound here. There we go. I'm gonna bring it up. Should be better now. Done. Alright. There's all those positive rates in chat for you, Migs. Appreciate you, man. Alright, let's make sure we're not stalling out up here. Remember, we are in a VNAV airplane, so we actually have to pay attention. Coming back here, we're looking good. We are 23.8, climbing to 25. So 1,000 feet to level off. We've passed our DME fixed point, right? 58 miles. So now we're just going to continue outbound on the track. Once we get up to cruise, I'm going to show you a little bit of difference here between our heading and our course line and why those aren't synced. There's our altitude alert horn. We're going to stay in the cockpit view until we level off. That way we can set our power accordingly. Peyton says, the one question about the Airbus, does it have an override switch for trim so that if there was a trim runaway it can be solved, or would it put the aircraft in direct law? Peyton, that's a great question, especially, in light of the MAX situation and the trim runaway. There is a way. It's not necessarily trim override. Basically, you have to override the ELACs from running the trim, and the best way to do that would be to put the airplane into alternate law manually by turning off two ADRs. That would be the first step. So we train, and this actually happened to a Qantas pilot. I believe it was Qantas 320, maybe it was a 320, or I thought he was in a narrow body Airbus. He might have been in a wide body, but same Airbus computer philosophy. And this was before anybody classically trained for this exact failure, but he was flying along and basically had exactly what the MAX deal was. There was some information mix up in the aircraft, and it went into protection. It went into its protections, and it went into, I believe, a low speed protection, and it started driving the nose down. And because the captain was very intimately familiar with the airplane and how to and what computers were doing what, he instinctively reached up on the overhead and turned off two flight control computers, which drove the airplane into alternate law and immediately stopped the trim from pushing the nose down because it thought it was stalling. And they saved that airplane. And so ever since then, now whenever you get typed on an Airbus or you go into training, you actually have that same scenario play out, and you do it in the sim. You do it every couple recurrence or whatever to help keep you aware of that scenario. And basically what we teach is anytime the Airbus is trying to kill you, you need to go up there. First thing you need to do is put it in alternate law, because turn off the protections and stabilities is the first step. So that way you have a direct control of what's going on. And that's what he did. He saved the airplane, and it was a good deal. So, but great question, man. This is not Sim Update 10 beta. I don't run betas, man, especially for streaming. All right, so we're leveling off here in cruise. Let's go ahead and bring that power back. You can see our speed is creeping up. I'm still in sync mode, and we're N1 sync. 83.5 on the thrust. Let's see what that does. I'm actually going to come back a little bit more. Let's do about 81, 82% and one. Let's see what kind of speed we get from that. Nick says, love the content, learning so much now that I've achieved my real fake pilot certification in Microsoft Flight Sim. Absolutely, man. Flying with the Google Maps add-on on the same route. Awesome, Pixelated Wolf, awesome. Matt says, you're truly the best teacher, V1. I've learned so much over the months, and you make me strive to do every flight just like they do in real life. Keep up the good work. Matt Warren, that means a lot, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, dude. Sword, take it easy, man. Says, gotta go. Thanks for the info. Happy landings. Take it easy, Sword. Thanks for stopping by, man. Thank you. They also have the Empire Penguin paint scheme, and Antarctic Airlines is the best. Yeah, I saw this paint scheme, and I was like, this is cool. We got to do it. I was going to do Land Chile, but then I saw this one. And I was like, I got to do this one. Have I flown the Citation Longitude in Microsoft? I have not. I know you guys keep asking about it. I got to try it out. It's one thing I need to do. I want to try it, but I don't know if I should pay the 80 for the Premium Deluxe, or is it kind of bad? Oh, you just mean the default longitude? Rex, hey, man, this is my number. I would say do not spend extra money for any default airplanes in the sim. That's just my honest opinion. Like, I really don't think any of the default mods are worth the extra money, because you can get the fly-by-wire Neo mod with just the basic function, right? In my opinion, that one is the way to go. I believe there's a mod for the Citation, right? But I haven't flown it to really say if it's worth the $80 to step up to have that airplane. My gut instinct, man, is, hey, don't spend the money on default airplanes. You know, get the basic version and then just buy add-on aircraft and scenery. That would be my suggestion to you. Wow, that's so cool. I'm trying to find a good wing view here. Let me turn down the sim. Let's take a look at this livery outside real quick. Oh, yeah. That is the juice right there, my friends. Yeah, working title. That's the one I was looking for. CJ4. That's the one I was looking for. Yeah, the beta, it's just for streaming, man. I'm going to just stick with what I know works. I don't need to, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? That's kind of my motto, especially with streaming. Like, let's just keep it going the way it is. Now, everyone, you see that is because the pilot knew what to do in that aircraft, but as Boeing, those pilots had no clue what to do in that runaway trim. Richard Reed. So, yes and no. There was an expat crew that flew one of those aircraft just before, or the day before, I believe, and they stopped it. They knew what to do. They rode up the airplane, and then the next day it took off with a less of it. I don't want to say less experienced crew, because one crew, and I can't remember which crash it was. I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one, but one of the crashes on the MAX, the crew did the right thing. They stopped the runaway trim, but the problem was that it had ran away so fast and so far before they stopped it, they physically could not hold the airplane level. And they were either going to crash without being able to correct it, or they could turn the trim back on and try to reverse the trim and save it. So you really are stuck between a rock and a hard place. So at the last minute, they actually stopped, they turned it back on, and of course it drove it even further nose down, and then they just lost control completely, and it went into the ground. So that crew, you know, at least they stopped it initially, and I believe the other crash, it was just so quick after takeoff. Could they have stopped it if they knew it was coming? Probably, but that's one of those things, man. If Boeing was up front and they talked about it, and those guys had already trained in that scenario, then maybe none of that would have happened. But that was the second MAX. That's what I thought. Thanks, Chungli. Or thanks, Danny. Do you have any advice for the interview? I just did my commercial pilot check ride. I have about 190 hours of flight and will finish my course with 210. And got a job interview for the Dash 8, 300, 100. Kind of nervous. Canadian. That's awesome. Do I have any advice for the interview? I don't know what type of questions they would ask you up there for that job per se. What I would suggest though is maybe look for a gouge. You know, like look what other guys have been asked in the interview. That's the best way to go about any interview, is find out what other people have been asked. Find out what other questions were asked. That way you can prepare for those questions. That way when you go in there, you're good to go. That would be that's kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to, give you interview advice without knowing exactly who the interviewee is and all that. So that's more of a personal level. Nervous about the interview or nervous for the crash 8? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that was a good point too. All right, real quick, before we park it outside, let's look at I want to go over one other point here, and then we're going to look at some other stuff for our top of descent, and then we'll look at the outside view for a minute. Al says, weird, I just woke up while running a BAE checklist in my sleep, sitting in front of the laptop. Nice, Al. Nice, man. Joe says, in all members, someone gifted me a membership, and I just want to say how eternally grateful I have wanted to become a member for ages, but due to numerous reasons, I've been able to. Joe, well, I'm very, very happy that you were able to pick up a gifted membership. That's absolutely awesome. Welcome on board Team Green, my friend. Hope you enjoy the content with your membership. All right, so we're talking about our flight. First and foremost, let's look at our course line here. So if you look closely, you can see, so this is my heading bug, right? And you can see our course line is set on 352 degrees. But the airplane is not necessarily flying 352 degrees. It's actually flying, if this is 352, it's flying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's actually flying 5 degrees off. Why would that be? Because we got a little bit of a crosswind from the right. So the track diamond, this is what this little diamond is called. It's called a track diamond. This is your actual ground track. So if we look at Sky Vector one more time here, I'll pull up Sky Vector. This course that we have here, this airway, is a track. We want to track this 352 course. So that track over the ground needs to be 352. It actually looks like a little bit off. Is it reversed? Am I going crazy? Basically, the track diamond should always be on your course degree. So if you're 352, you want to be tracking the 352 course. A little bit of wind from the right. Let's see if we're crabbing just a little bit. Can we see a little bit of a crab here? Not much. It's basically nil. So that just might be a little bit of a gauge error, a little bit of a gauge thing going on. But if you ever look at that and your course is one way and your heading is way off to the right or to the left, that's because your airplane is fighting a headwind, or I'm sorry, not a headwind, a crosswind, either from the left or from the right. So just make sure that the track diamond is in the proper course for the course that you are flying. Now the other thing we got to look at is we also need to look at our flight up here. Where was our changeover? So Rogel is our changeover point, which is 31 and 19, so call it 30 and 20. It'd be 50 miles from Balmaceda VOR, which is 15.5. We still haven't picked up any DME yet, but what we need to do is look at our course for our next changeover. So the Balmaceda VOR 115.5, the airway we want to track is 165, as you can see here depicted on the chart. The problem is the course, or the radial, is 165. Radials only go outbound, meaning that the radial, this goes away from the VOR. So 079 outbound, 165 outbound, 219 outbound, 316 outbound. We are not flying outbound from this VOR. We're actually flying inbound to the VOR. So we need to take the reciprocal of 165 because we're going to be flying this way to Balmaceda. The easiest way to do reciprocals is the +2 -2 method. And I've done this before, and you guys always ask about it. The best way I can explain it, and it's kind of hard because it's at an angle here, but you're either going to add 2 and subtract 2, or you're either going to subtract 2 and add 2. And what do I mean by that is you're either going to do that to the first 2 digits of the radial that you want to fly. So we want to fly the 165 radial. If I were to add 2 to the number 1, that brings a 3. I also need to subtract 2 from digit number 2. So 6 minus 2 is 4. So the inbound radial of 165 is going to be 345. And you can see we've just picked up DME to DME2. So let's come over here and let's dial in 345 on the radial for Nav Course 2. You could see over here on the FO side now, he has a 345 to the station. If you look closely now, let's dissect this. You can see the airplane's current track diamond is just to the right of the inbound course. In this situation, this is perfect for what we have on our CDI. Our CDI is broken. You see how this CDI is broken out to the right? And if you look at the CDI that we're currently flying, this means we're right on course. The center part, or the course deviation indicator, the CDI, which is this line, is off to the right. This is what we want to fly, right? Airplane, right here. It's drawn out for you. Really nice. We are left of course line. But if we look at our ground track, or our track diamond, you can see it's ever so slightly to the right here, meaning that if we continue to fly this exact ground track with this track diamond, we eventually will intercept this course over here. Now, the only problem that I would see with this is we're really only intercepting at about, maybe 2 degrees if you look at the difference between the track diamond and the HSI course. So it could take a really long time to get over to this course. There's a couple things we can do. We can monitor this until we have a changeover waypoint on the chart, or we can either center the needle and fly direct. Let's talk about centering the needle and flying direct first. If I wanted to fly direct to that VOR, Ballamaceda, I would spin my course until the CDI was centered with the HSI needle. So now I know I need to fly, just a few more degrees right, and then we can track this inbound. But we don't really have an ATC clearance to fly that, do we? So we need to look for a course changeover point and see where we are going to expect to intercept the 345 inbound. I know it seems like a lot of information. Let me get right back to you here. Sergey coming in with with a 10 euro, 10 euro dono, man. Really much appreciate it, Sergey. Says, great stream. As always, finally able to fly along, so cheers from above. Hopefully RNP point 1 approach here will work out and no clouds will happen. Sergey, that's awesome, man. Thank you for your dono. I appreciate you, man. I have no doubt your RNP 1 approach is going to be just fine. I assume you're with that the Airbus behind me, right? So hopefully we can sync up our landings and we'll get to watch you land. But thank you so much, man. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Glad you're flying along. Always fun, man. Thank you so much, dude. All right, back to where we were. So we were talking about there's a couple different ways we could fly over to this VOR. We could spin the needle, make it direct. We could continue to fly a 2-degree intercept, or we could intercept more, or we can actually look for a changeover point. Now, if we look at our chart, remember we said there was a changeover point, a Rogel. See the solid triangle? So Rogel is a changeover point. How do we know where Rogel is? Well, we don't really have any other nav to tell us. We have to look at distance. Distance, we can either take distance from this over here. We can add these segments up, or I'm a pilot. I like easy math. Let's take the shortest distance, right? So we want to go from here to Rogel. We need to know the DME. So let's add them up. If we look at the radial or the course that we're going to track, see this 19 here? That's the distance to the first segment of Negos. So 13,000 is the minimum en route altitude. We're above that. G550 is the name of the airway. 19 is the distance.
Hey, glad I could finally catch a stream. Any tips for someone looking to get into the commercial airline field?
Water. Dude, thank you for the $20 dono, man. Super bank angle check right back at you, dude. Really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Glad you caught us live, man. Any tips for getting in a commercial airline field? Look, my number one tip is if it's something that you want to do, you want to do it, start as soon as you can, because there's nothing like getting in and getting a seniority number. So if it's something you really want to do, start now. Start looking now. Look at your flight options. Look at your school options or your training options. Don't sit on it. If you know it's something you want to do, take the plunge and do it. Now, it's easier said than done. It's financially, it's a big burden. Other jobs, spouses, kids. But if you have a way to make it work, my tip to you is to just get on it and take the plunge, my friend. But thank you for the dono and welcome aboard. All right, so 20 miles. We got 13,000 airway, 20 miles to Negos. And then from Negos to Rogel is 31 miles. So let's add those two together. 31 and 19 is 50 miles. So 50 miles from the VOR, we should be at a changeover point. Now, because this is a changeover point from our 352 radial that we flew from Caliphate, theoretically, if we just continue tracking the 352 from Caliphate, which we're 175 miles away from, when this number reads 50, this should be centered up. So in this particular instance, I am going to leave the CDI just like this, even though you typically don't like to fly around with the CDI off course. But because we're expecting a changeover here at 50 miles, I'm going to monitor this. And as we've been talking, you can actually see, look, our CDI is actually getting closer to our airplane's position. So we are flying that track. Now, here's the problem. We just lost DME1, which means we probably just lost our Nav1. Now, we're still tracking it. We've lost DME, but we're still tracking the 352. So hopefully we don't lose the signal. hopefully we'll be able to pick it up here pretty soon, and then we'll switch over. If we lose our Nav 1, we can just switch over to Nav 2. We know we already have signal. But we're going to try to let this go all the way to 50 miles, and then we're going to check back over here and see if this course is centered. Theoretically, you could just go direct to right now and give it a full send. But as far as we're looking here with our SkyVector charts, we are on track. We're 352 outbound. Everything is looking good. We're going to hit the 345 at Rogel inbound to the VOR, and then from then on, we're going to do our approach. Now, we have to look at our approach carefully because we do have a VOR hold full procedure we got to do. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to park the airplane right here so we can monitor this course, and then I'm going to get to these super chats, and then we're going to look at our approach for our approach brief because we still have to descend and get a descent down. So I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. It looks like you are. Hey, Minfam, good to see you, my friend. Welcome on board the stream. Stephen Hayner with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. He says, great refresher on VOR navigation and procedures. This should be enough to get a girly pink drink from Starbucks. Stephen Hayner, thank you so much, my friend. I will be picking up a girly pink drink on the way home. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you. I tell you what, man. That refresher from Starbucks, you guys got to try it. I mean, just try it. It's like the passion fruit one, but don't get the lemonade. Just get the actual like passion fruit refresher because the lemonade is a little too sweet for me. It's girly. It's pink. I might actually buy one and like put it in a thermos or something just so I don't have to walk around with the curly pink drink. But it's freaking good, man. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate you, man. Min says, perfect stream for a brush up on navigation, getting ready for cross-country solo. Min, excellent. Realistic that DME went off before the VOR? Yes, that's pretty sweet. We're still tracking the VOR, but we don't have distance measuring equipment, or we've lost the DME signal. That's totally fine. We have DME from number 2, so we still know our position. We're about 20 miles from the intersection. So, because 50 miles, we're at 69 now. So if someone asks you, where are you at? Well, I know, here's Rogel. I'm about 20 miles from it. I'm right about here somewhere. We're approaching it, but we're not quite there. And you can also cross-reference with the lake down there too. So, all right. That's good. I'm going to hide that for now. We're about 17 miles to change over. And, oh my goodness. I am going to turn the alert box off for this because we've got a massive 20 gifted subs coming to the channel. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you have your notifications, but your accepting gifts turned on there. Pick up a gifted membership from Mr. Miggs because that is an absolute bomb of a dono. Guys, that is all for you guys. He is giving to you guys, so make sure if you're one of the new members, you just picked up a membership from Miggs, make sure you give him a shout out. Positive rate to you, Miggs. Thank you for including 20 more members to Team Green. We're turning this chat green today, man. That's absolutely incredible. Thank you, Miggs. And again, if you picked it up, make sure you thank Miggs. That's awesome. Thank you for your support, man. Exclamation point welcome to the new members in chat. You get your V1 After Dark section in the Discord, and make sure you're checking the community tab for community-only posts. So, good stuff. All right. We haven't even talked about VOR yet. If we overfly our top of descent, which I'm pretty sure we will, we're just going to hold over the VOR. How's that? We'll hold over the VOR, we'll descend down. Because there's something very critical I want to explain to you right now. It's going to happen in about 8 miles. So I'm going to pull up SkyVector real quick. I hate when I do this zoom thing. All right, so we already talked about our changeover point is at 50 miles, right? What's the best way to do this? If I were to just to go nav 2 and flip the nav sources, the airplane is capable of intercepting the new course. However, it's going to rock back and forth a little bit as it picks up the new course line, and it might do what we call hunting or oscillating upon the new course. So what I'm going to do, instead of letting the airplane try to do it manually, I'm going to take a real-world technique here, and I'm actually going to select heading mode after I sync my heading bug. So I'm going to go heading bug straight up, and I'm going to select heading bug.
751 over Rogel joining arrival, Sursa 3 Bravo, and descending flight level 270.
All right, so he overtook us already. All right, so now I'm in heading mode. Beautiful. What are we going to do now? I'm going to manually select. We pre-selected it before, so let's go ahead and do, I forget how to swap it. Nope. That's ILS test. Active Flip. No, that's a test. Dang it. I forget how. Oh, it's right here. Boom. Flipped it over. It's kind of hard to see this button. It's kind of wore out. So now 15.5 is the active, and let's dial in the course of 345. We know we want to turn a little bit to the left, so I heading bug over. I'm going to select 345 on the nav course, and look, I'm going to just keep us in heading mode here just a little bit. Once it's nice and straight, I'm going to go VLOC mode again. And that was a bad example because I shouldn't have turned. Now we're going to hunt a little bit. But what I was trying to say is go into heading mode first, flip over your new VOR radial, and start tracking it in heading mode. And then once the CDI is straight, go into VLOC hold because it'll keep the airplane from oscillating. You see we're doing just ever so slightly little turn left, little turn right. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but coming from a guy, so like I have flown corporate jets, right? Anybody who's flown private jets, corporate jets, it's always about making your passengers, your boss, essentially, the most comfortable as possible. So this is something I took from that. Like, I don't want the airplane oscillating or turning at any point unless I am doing it. So I would put it in heading mode, I'd get the CDI nice and straight, and then when everything was straight, boom, hit nav mode, and the airplane makes one turn. Now, when I'm flying single pilot freight, flying boxes around, do I care? No, I'm just going to go BOR, swap it over, let it hunt, do its thing, and whatever. But as far as a passenger standpoint, or if you're a corporate pilot or you're trying to impress your boss or you're trying to impress somebody that you're flying with, do the heading bug trick first because that's going to get you back on course and on course change real smooth without any oscillations. So I can tell you right now, we're way over. I don't know why... Minfum, I don't know why Nightbot slapped you there, man. But I don't, yeah, so that's kind of that was a little secret technique from the corporate world. Do it in heading mode first. Just make sure that you do hit VLOC mode back on once you get on course because you don't want to fly in heading the whole way because then you could drift off. But, all right. There we go. That is, that's that. Let's get rid of Sky Vector. I know we're way high now. On the approach. We actually have charts we can look at here. So let's go home. Let's go charts. We're doing the VOR approach into SCBA. Let's go search. Boom. And I'm just going to pull up the approach. We're doing the VOR 25. I'm sorry, VOR 27. And it looks like we're going to have to hold over the VOR because we want to cross the VOR at 7,000, which is probably not going to happen, but we're going to try. So you can see here our Baltimore VOR 15.5. You can hold over the VOR to ascend to 7,000 and then track outbound on the 109 for an inbound turnaround. So what we need to do is look at our hold first. We have a 109 inbound, 289 outbound. This looks like a direct entry hold. So very simple. Now, this hold is not mandatory, but because we're at 23,000 feet, 25,000 feet, we need a hold to descend in the hold so we can shoot the approach. So 289 is our outbound course. So we're only 28 miles from the VOR. I'm going to remind myself, I'm going to spin my heading bug. Remember, we did go to VLOC mode. This is the embarrassing part. If you didn't go back to VLOC and you go ahead and spin your heading for the next phase and the airplane starts turning when you didn't want it to, now you just defeated the whole smooth changeover technique if you didn't reset it. So 289 is our outbound. So I'm going to set that here so I don't forget. So it should be, there's 280. Oh no, that's 270, 280, 290, so 289 is right there. And we need to descend to 7,000, so let's scroll up 7,000. All right, 7,000 is set. I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit. 7,000 is set. We're going to arm you. I'm going to go into IAS hold. And we're going to go ahead and bring the power back. We're going to start down. We're going to get the seatbelt sign on. Now we can go descent mode on the TMS, which is risky. You got to know what you're doing. So I'm going to go descent mode. That'll keep the N1s above minimum pressure or minimum N1 speed if we need to use engine anti-ice, which we might be flying through some precipitation here. All right, so I'm going to bring the power back. We're going to go speed brake out. And we're really going to start diving down. Check this out. And, you know, this is actually not a good technique. I'm going to go half speed brake because this is kind of scary. Let's do our descent checklist. So, PTU on. Pressurization is set. Hopefully, we didn't forget. Briefing complete, landing data. We'll do that when we set the set our flaps. All right, so we're out of 19.4, descending for 7,000. Balmaceda traffic, DAP 357 out of 18.9, descending. We're going to hold over the Balmaceda VOR to 7,000 for the VOR 25 approach, Balmaceda. All right. V1, is this the most underrated airplane in Microsoft? Andre Henry, 110% yes. This airplane is up there with the best of them. PMDG, Phoenix. The only reason I rank it below the Phoenix is because I love Airbus so much. But I would put it on equal, if not, I would actually put this ahead of the PMDG. I may get slapped from some of you, but you know, it comes with an EFB. It's got everything modeled that you need modeled. It's got it all, man. It's got it all. So we're picking up a little bit of ice. So we're going to go engine anti-ice on. And look, you see the N1s? Look at the N1s changing. So that's why we have descent mode on, because now even though I have the power at idle, the N1's all bumped up. That's what descent mode does on the TMS. We also need to slow down because we're going way fast. So I'm going to go sync mode. No, I'm not. Well, we'll make one turn on the hold here.
Pull up.
Sync mode on. I'm going to arrest the descent rate because we're going into the clouds. You never want to just ignore Jip Whiz, but let's go ahead and slow that descent rate down. 250 knots. 3 miles from the VOR. Remember, we're turning to 289 outbound, a direct entry hold. Sync mode back on. We're 250 on the speed now. Let's go ahead and stow the speed brake. Bring the sounds up a little bit. Ice is still detected. Let's go tail ice on. So we can do outer, tail and outer wings first. All right, 1.5. Get ready to cross over the VOR. We're going to go heading mode, and we're going to go outbound at 289. We already spun our heading bug. So what we're waiting for now is a course reversal. As soon as this flips, we know we've crossed over the VOR, and we can flip outbound at 289. Here's our cone of confusion. We've got flagged out. And we're now going away from the VOR. So heading mode on. We're turning to 289 outbound. All right, we're looking good. 289 outbound, 7,000. Bring up the power just a little bit. All right, our inbound course is 109. So now let's set our course to 109. And we're going to set the timer, so we're 1 minute from there. Let's get our lights on. I know this. We went from just hanging out and talking to everything happening at once here, so I apologize for that. Wing logo, everything else is on. Beautiful. And that looks good. So we'll go at about another 30 seconds. And then we're going to turn back around. I'm going to slow to 200 knots, which we're slowing nicely. Right about there. I'm going to set this at 200 just for a reference. About 15 seconds, and we're going to turn inbound, and we're going to track the inbound course. After we cross the VOR outbound, we can descend to 5,000 feet, all the way down to 3,400 actually. So we got to make sure we'll set 5 initially. And we'll arm that. We're in pitch hold mode, which not necessarily the best here, but that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and turn inbound. Joe, I'm right there with you. Yeah, you do have to fly this airplane. You really do. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's something different, right? It's something different than just doing our Children of Magenta. All right, so kind of like before, I'm going to set up an intercept heading for the inbound course. I'm going to I'm going to split the difference between the CDI and the deviation. So we're almost full deflection, so I'm going to go almost halfway, a little bit more towards the course arrow. That's about a 135 heading. I'm going to fly that heading until we intercept that radial. Oh, you can see the radial is actually coming in. So we can go ahead and keep spinning that heading bug, all the way around. It's actually looking nice. We might actually pick it right up. We'll go VLOC, and we'll let it capture, and we're tracking inbound. We might have overshot just a tad, but that's all right. We're on the protected side of the hold. That's all that matters at this point. All right, all this, and I still haven't even got replay mode ready. Replay mode is coming up just in case. That's set. Where you at? There's flight recorder is ready. All right, so we're 6 miles from the VOR, tracking inbound. 200 on the speed. We're looking good. Our engine anti-ice is on. Descent mode is on. We're holding this minimum pressure. Everything is looking good. Let's look at our checklist. What else can we do? Let's go ahead and hit B for altimeter. That is set. Fasten seatbelts are on. APU. Oh my gosh, it was off. It was on the whole time. Whoever said that, I apologize. We'll go ahead and start mode back on. Hopefully it'll start up here. All right, let's go ahead and let it shut off. All done. AC pump auto will be the next thing. I'm actually going to prime it up right now. Put that in auto. All right, 3 miles from the VOR. We're going to just track the 109 outbound. We're going to continue outbound. All right, let's start the APU now. There's the airport. Look at that. Just sitting right in the snow. Right in the snow line. Man, that was crazy. Went from just talking to here we are. We need a longer flight. I thought this flight was going to take long, but we start talking. All right, 1 mile to go. So we're about to cross over the VOR. We're going to fly outbound to 12 DME. So 12 DME is what we're looking for. And we can descend when we cross down to 5,000. So 5,000 is set and armed. And we'll just do a IAS hold when we cross over the VOR. So we are in icing conditions. There is visible moisture, and the temperature is +2. So yeah. All right, we are now going outbound. So let's go IAS hold. Altitude is armed. Bring the power back. Remember, with the engine anti-ice on, it's going to limit it to 50. What's it going to stop? I think 52-ish%. So let's go ahead and get some speed brake out. That's what will help us come down. Look at our vertical speed. There we go. We're going out to 12 miles. 12 miles. Our alert height, or I'm sorry, our rad alt is going to be 513. That's still pretty high. I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll call it 520. We don't want to go below. Chaos. Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. Awesome. All right, well, there's our altitude alert. We're going into altitude hold at 5,000. Let's go ahead and get that speed brake back in. We can go all the way out to 12,000. Ballamaceda traffic, DAP 357. We're 6 miles from the Ballamaceda VOR outbound, getting ready to start our procedure turn inbound on the VOR 25 Ballamaceda. Or is it 27? Correction, 27.
Ballamaceda traffic bersama 1151 on Aeronaut 7X approach 22 miles to the Ballamaceda.
All right, so we're going to turn around and go inbound. We can see the VOR. We'll just hand fly it. We'll go yoke cam on. All right, at 12 miles, we are turning around to 271 inbound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it in. I'm going to sync my heading bug right now. I'm going to go heading mode on. So we're heading. I'm going to spin my course around to 271 so I know what to intercept. 271 is selected. There's 11 miles. So at 12 miles, we got to spin the heading bug to intercept. I'm going to shoot for about a 300.
Speed checked below 205. Select flaps 18.
All right, flaps 18 is coming out. We're going to bring the power back a little bit. Let's go ahead and start the turn. There is 12 miles. I'm going to spin it to 300. And what was our final descent? 3,400. IAS hold. Altitude arm. Up 3,400, then arm it. There we go. We're coming down. Flaps 18 is selected. Oh, we're looking good.
2,500.
Speed check below 205. Select gear down.
I'm going to hold off on that. So you can see we're spinning around. We're spinning around. Let's go recording. Not yet. I'll start recording now. All right, I'm going to arm VLOC here as soon as I see the deviation needle moving. It is. So VLOC is armed and it's green. We're VOR inbound, descending to 3,400. And our minimum descent altitude is 2180. But I can see the airport off here anyway, so we're good. We'll just level off and we'll hand fly it in. All right, you can see we've intercepted the course now. I'm going to sync my heading bug with my inbound final approach course. All right, I think we're out of the icing conditions, so let's go ahead and we'll turn off, 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 APU air on, engine air off for performance purposes. What's that? Wing not de-iced. Will we have ice out there? I don't think so. I think that's Microsoft. There we go. It's off. All right. I'm going to just stay at 3,400. I can see the runway now. So 7 DME is the final approach fix. We're at 10 miles. We're looking good. AC pump is on auto. We'll get the gear. We got the lights. We'll get the flaps. That's off below 500. On is the required engineer is off. Nose wheel is centered. Checklists are complete. I'm holding off on the gear until about the final approach fix. And yeah, we're going to turn everything off and we're just going to hand fly it. Matter of fact, let's do it now, shall we? Let's go autopilot. Where's my autopilot disconnect? I guess I don't have it bound. RIP.
Autopilot disconnected.
Autopilot disconnected. We'll go flight directors off. Flight directors off. That looks good. And let's go gear down.
Speed checked below 180. Select flaps 24. Speed checked below 170. Select flaps 30.
We got the replay to watch it. It'll be good. Flaps 30. Gumps check, exactly. Gas undercarriage mixture prop. We'll go flaps full. What is our VFE speed? I'm sorry, VAP speed. Looks like it's going to be 120 knots. We're slowing down. 500 feet AGL. We're going to pop the speed brake. Ballamaceda traffic. DAP 357 on final 6 miles. 27. Ballamaceda. A little bit of trim. On speed. We're looking good. Oh, look at that.
Ballamaceda traffic 17751 holding over Bravo Alpha 084 and you will be shooting approach right after you, Ballamaceda.
Alright, so he's gonna, looks like he's holding for us. That's cool. This is the airport where we did that go-around at sunset. Remember that? We did the bulk landing here? Well, I'm glad we... no, that wasn't here, was it? I don't remember. All these airports are starting to look alike. In valleys in the mountains.
1,000.
Alright, 1,000 feet stable. We're on speed. Gear is down to land. Clear to land. A little bit of wind from the right here. Got a nice little crab going on. Probably should have got a METAR. Mid's no bird mode today, Migs. I wish we had a bird on this airplane. Actually, nah. We don't need a bird on this. You got the track diamond, though. You got the track diamond. Just flying a nice visual approach. No pappies. I can't make them out yet anyway. Little wind from the right.
Plus 100.
Comes our minimums.
Minimums.
Landing.
Minimums. 500.
Alright, 500 feet. Speed brake is coming out. Gave it a little bit of power. Oh, you know what? I didn't turn... Alright, we're good. It should be takeoff go-around mode, right? It's off, so we're good. Pappies are snowed in. Yeah, you could get a false glide slope on this one. Remember we talk about that in the Airbus all the time? Alright, I'm seeing the pappies now. A little bit low, correcting. We can, a nice long runway, we're going to let it roll out here. That was not as smooth as I wanted.
Green spoilers.
Ran out of juice. Fly that nose down. Tap the
Brake
brakes a
pressure
little bit.
C.
Keep it on
80
center
knots.
line.
$60 knots.
Definitely planted it. Positive landing. Alright, let's clean it up. Here we are. Welcome to Bala Maseda, my friends. 20 knots below ref. That's probably why. Ooh, a little bit of snow traction issue there. Alright, there we go. A little bit too fast for that turn. I didn't like it. Firm landing, nothing to see here. It was definitely solid. Thanks, E-Dots. Negative rates in Bala Maseda traffic. Depth 357 clear of 27 taxigram. We're going to leave the lights on for our replay. Let's go ahead and stop the recording now. God, that's awesome. Love this airplane. Oh, I remember this airport now. We were actually, when we flew it out of here last time, we were at this first gate. So let's go right back to this first gate here. I always think that's the Texas flag up there. That was a frozen hard butter. See, yeah, it's too cold for smooth butters. We need frozen butters. That's exactly what I was actually trying to do, James. I was trying to get a frozen butter because of how cold it is. It's wintertime down here. So I rate that landing 10 for 10. Alright, since that jet bridge is a little bit close for my liking, we'll stop it early. Right about here. Alright, we're stopping here. Let's set the brake. We won't shut down because we want to watch the replay. The day it snows in Texas is the day it... Well, hey, Steven. It snowed multiple times last year, so. But there we are. We're going to keep it configured. Let's go ahead and extend flaps.
Buenos Aires to LATAM 751, turning final to 7.
Sergey's turning final, so while we reconfigure, let's go take a look at his landing. We're going to leave the airplane on. Let's spin up the camera speed here. We can see him on final. Let's watch one real live landing, plane spotting here at Balmaceda. Let's see how this, we're going to put it right here on the markers. Ooh, there he is. He's out there. Ooh, there. Thank you for whoever told me what the zoom key is for the drone by default. All right, so we got a 321 coming in on final. Let's give him some tunes. Let's see. We have any tunes? Yeah, we do. And then we're going to watch our replay, and I think we're going to get out of here. Frozen butter's good for some steak. Oh, Captain Squid. Dude, you're speaking my language, my friend. A little, what is it, a little compound butter, a little frozen compound butter on top of the steak. Put it in the Traeger. Ooh, nasty. I feel like you mainly flew in the U.S. the next plane landed because ortho was such a pain. Rex Royce, you are 125% correct, my friend. You're 200% correct. That's exactly why. I don't like flying anywhere I don't have ortho, and it's a pain to do it. Hello, Sim with Elliot. Welcome on board. Andre Henry, Traegers are awesome. Traeger, Camp Chef. I said Traeger. Camp Chef, same thing. I've got a Camp Chef right now. Absolutely love it. 10 for 10, highly recommend. Garlic parsley compound butter on a nice 18-ounce ribeye. Ooh, yeah. I'm on a little New York strip kick right now, though. New York strip, a little bit leaner, a little bit more beefy. I'm good, Sim with Elliot. How are you, my friend? Have I ever flown to Montreal? Yes, I have. Got in trouble in Montreal. I heard from a U.S.-based pilot that they don't fly in Montreal and Quebec City. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been up there, but I've had some good times up there, my friend. Quebec City, I had a hell of an overnight. All right, here we go. Oh, I ran out of the drone speed. Oh, that was nice, though. That was nice. He was doing a zero flap, zero slat landing, it looks like here. Not bad at all, though. Not bad at all. Not bad for a zero flap, zero slat, 321 in the ice. Is he going to stop in time? Is he going to stop?
No, but that's your model matching in 318.
Oh, he is. Okay. Definitely greased it. All right, let's take a look at our replay, shall we? Oop, what am I doing? Let's go resume. And let's go replay mode. Thanks for flying along. We'll go ahead and disconnect from VATSIM. Let's see how we did. AIG doesn't show traffic. Flaps. Oh, well. All right, so we're coming in on final here. We're looking good. We haven't lowered the gear yet. Oh, nice. It does real-time gear lowering. Let's go ahead and pause it. Let's zoom it forward a little bit. There we go. There's the gear coming out. Nice. Hear the power spooling up. Yeah, that was supposed to be a 319. Rab, I use Flight Recorder. Flight Recorder is the replay software I use. Flight Recorder, I think it works. I think it's the best one. It's not FS Recorder, and it's not FS Replay. It's just called Flight Recorder. I believe it's a free one on the Flights MTO. And it works so good. I think it's the only one that you really need. It's really helped with my replay woes. And one of the best parts about it is, let's say you were doing this like this here, and then the sim crashes. I still have the replay saved, so we can go back and watch the replay, even after a sim crash. If I'm ever driving out west of DFW, Mesquite Pit for New York Strip is the bomb. Ooh, Al W. I'm gonna remember that. Thank you, dude. I will have to check that out. I have to check that out, man. This livery is just juicy. So yeah, you can see a little bit of crab here. We got a little bit of wind from the right. correcting. Look at the textures on this airplane. Look at this tail. My goodness. Here comes the speed brake. Look at that barn door. I like flight deck to Sims livery. It's got like butter or bust. You know what I forgot to do? I should probably turn the cabin on. There we go. Looks a little bit more real. .500 feet, speed brake is out. Nice crab. XP72, what's up, man? Good to see you, dude. Never fail to make you think about food. Butter with steak. Oh yeah, man. Butter and steak, XP. Gotta get that compound butter on top. Nice little ribeye or a New York strip. Throw it in the smoker.
50.
Let's see how we did. We're 50 over the numbers. A little bit late on the power reduction. I held the power in too long. And then I got scared and tried to save it. That was I don't even know what the landing rate was. I think it was a little firm, but we held it. Fly the nose down. That's a big thing here with this T-tail. Fly the nose down. You don't want to hold it up forever, and you don't want to slam it. Just fly it down. After you touch down, fly it forward. Fly it forward. All right, let's back it up. Let's watch it from like right here. Yeah, see the power, I was about 3 seconds late on the power reduction there. And you can see my speed is dropping below ref, which makes a nice firm touchdown. Yeah, so that wasn't my best landing for sure. Was not my best landing for sure. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to leave you with a few replays to watch here. I hope you enjoyed this stream. I know it was kind of like a fire hose stream. We didn't even get to talk about some of the more important things in the VOR nav, but maybe, just maybe, you've got enough information now. You can head up on SkyVector, fire up your 146 or any of your classic airplanes, do a VOR to VOR flight. I'm telling you, the level of satisfaction is completely different. I highly recommend this airplane. Every time I fly the 146, I'm blown away at how fun it is to fly. So if you're looking for an airplane to pick up, and again, like I said, it's not a sponsor plug. I enjoy it so much. I want you guys to enjoy it too. But until next time, guys, I'm actually not going to be here tomorrow. I'm actually headed to Atlanta, super early in the morning. But I'll probably see you guys Thursday, Friday. We should probably get something going. But until then, stay safe. Oh, members only. Might be having a 73600 stream coming at you. Just be on the look for that. Until next time, guys, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm V1. See ya. Shout out to Migs. Thanks again, man, for the massive dono and the massive membership giveaway. Thank you, Migs. We'll see you next time.
minimums.